Hi. I'm aware of the lighting. I'm sorry if that bothers you. I'm sorry for living in the Northern Hemisphere. Also, it's evening. Cheers, mate. Let's begin. First, as usual, a very quick phonological note. A and A are now the same phoneme. So today we're going to discuss verbs, and verbs are at the center of this conlang. In fact, a verb can constitute a complete grammatical sentence. I've been carefully crafting the verb endings, and now I've made it so that you can convey a massive amount of information in just 2 syllables. Remember the syllable structure I outlined in the first video? Well, the verb endings are kind of the exception to that. It's the only place where non-nasal codas are allowed. Since this is a SOV language and verbs come at the end of phrases because of that, when you happen to come across a complex string of consonants in fluent speech, it's a safe bet to assume that it marks the end of a phrase. So the basic structure of a verb, complete with conjugation and all, is a verb root, a consonant that sort of marks voice, a vowel that marks person and number, a consonant that marks mood, a vowel that marks tense, and an aspect, consonant, or consonant cluster. Simple, right? For the first consonant there are 5 to 8 possibilities depending on how you count. We'll see the details of that later on. There are 6 person number combination possibilities. There are 8 epistemic moods, 8 deontic moods, so that makes 16 possibilities for mood. There are 3 tenses and 23 aspects. So let's examine the options for the first consonant. There are the active voice, passive voice, causative, potential, and the negative. So that gets you r, l, k, t, n. And the good thing is you can combine the negative with the causative, the potential, and of course the passive. N, l, n, k, and n, t. The first vowel is pretty straightforward, except that the inclusive and exclusive first person plural are smashed together. The corresponding vowels are I, E, U, I, A, O. So there are 8 epistemic modalities, and I'm not going to explain all of them because that would take a lot of time, but I really recommend, if you don't understand from the examples I give on the screen, and if you pause and you still don't understand, I really recommend you should just visit Wikipedia. There's just a lot to know, and epistemic modalities are just the best. Okay, let's just sum the ones up I chose. Dubitative, tentative, alethic, indicative, inferential, / hearsay, deductive / assumptive, hypothetical, meritive, and conditional, with the corresponding consonants s, t, g, k, b, t, k, sh, d. Deontic modalities, same story. If you want to know, look it up. I really recommend it. Commissive, hortative, imperative, volative / aspirative, optative, desiderative, permissive, and debitative. And I just realized I should explain aspirative because that's a name I made up, which the mood just basically indicates that something would hopefully happen. Verb will hopefully verb. So instead of saying may I win, you can combine it with a future tense, for example, to say hopefully I will win, which invokes a whole other kind of feeling. Cool! Tense. It's pretty straightforward. Past, present, future corresponding to U, A, and I. And I might move them a little bit closer to the schwa, since they're used so often, and in the evolution of this language, they might be. Speakers are lazy. And finally, aspect. Habitual, progressive, stative / continuous, delimitative / durative, nomic / neutral, momentane, inchoative, positive, resultative, perfect / retrospective, recent perfect, prospective, resumptive, frequentative, iterative, distributive, superlective, accidental, predispositional, incessant, increasing, approximate, and defective aspect. So let's say this verb takes place in the present, then we get ar, at, ak, al, ax, acht, ath, ats, ask, ab, ach, ach, an, ash, ad, as, atk, act, ach, ask, av, ag. Oh, and just like in English, you can combine the perfect and the continuous or progressive to create aksk or atsk. And as you might have been wondering, 5 times 6 times 16 times 3 times 23 gives me 33,120 possible conjugations. Information density. So let's have some fun. Suppose the verb root for to come is ku. Let's say in my language you want to say, I'm sorry, but I will probably not be able to come. That's 11 syllables. Well, in my language it's simple. You just use the negative potential first person singular tentative future continuous conjugation. I will probably not be able to come tonight. Kuntetik. See what I'm saying? I'm pretty proud of this system. It's been a lot of fun to play with, honestly. There's so many conjugations to explore and so many options. Anyway, next video will cover the rest of the bound morphemes and function words. And yeah, after that we'll have a pretty darn extensive toolbox to build sentences with and communicate a lot of meaning within little time. Okay. And also, I just noticed a minute ago that the camera is projecting a shadow upon the wall, which is clearly visible, which looks super professional. Okay, great. Bye.